I'm here specifically today to support NHS, to support doctors, to support nurses, to support those people who want to make a decision about their own bodily autonomy
100%.
and to create a divisive society of those who've been and those who haven't been and to drive a wedge between us, I think is wholly wrong.
100%.
I'm not lulled into a false sense of security by the relaxation in the restrictions. I suspect that it is a temporary withdrawal campaign, and I imagine that we will be back in the thick of it before too long. Whether it's because of Boris Johnson's immediate political difficulties or whether it is some other reason for this campaign to be withdrawn, we might find ourselves that we're simply now standing here in the eye of the storm and it's about to get rough. So yeah, that's why I'm here today.
May I ask, you've come out in your attire as a...
I've only come out in my wig and gown, in my work clothes, for the specific reason is that the mainstream media, when they do deign to cover such demonstrations, which isn't often, and particularly in this regard, they like to brand people here as tinfoil hatters, nutters, cranks, whereas in actual fact we are simply people from all walks of life, from all professions, who can think for ourselves and want to exercise our democratic right to express our views. So that's why I put my wig and gown on, to show that we do come from all walks of life and all professions.
Well, I guess I'll have to start calling you a tinfoil wigger.
You can call me whatever you want. My shoulders are broad enough and my skin is thick enough. No, I mean, listen, I think it's wrong, one, that the mainstream media have simply given no coverage to all of this since the beginning of it. There is only one narrative. There's no airtime given to a counter-narrative. Even the most highly qualified people are not allowed to challenge the mainstream view. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that's why I've worn my wig and gown, to show that we're not tinfoil wiggers or tinfoil hatters.
Do you believe in the concept of natural rights and equity?
Well, when you say, do I believe in equity, who is going to say no to that question? When you say, do I believe in natural rights, who's going to say no to that question? Of course I do, yes.
Well, it seems like they're sort of ignoring willfully the fundamental tenets of our constitution, that we have ancient and fundamental liberties.
Yes.
That things such as cerebral code, if the law said that a man should be the judge in his own trial, that you would simply throw it out because it's so against equity, it must be thrown out. Just like what they're doing with the coercion here. Do you believe it's against the Nuremberg Code and just illegal?
Well, it is against the Nuremberg Code. Of course it's against the Nuremberg Code. We have bodily autonomy, we have freedom of choice, and that is being taken away. And whether they do it through stealth, by saying to doctors and nurses, you're out of a job unless you actually get by this date. I mean, and these are the same guys and same ladies who have been on the front line protecting us, that we've all been clapping for every Thursday. So there's so much hypocrisy, there's so much disgusting politics in all of this. So yeah.
Fraud. Do you believe there's a legal precedent for mandatory in this country?
No.
What about in other countries, do you know?
I can't talk about other countries, but in terms of forced no, I don't.
Or coerced through fines and threat of imprisonment?
Well, there's always, for example, there's always been within the NHS, there's always been NHS staff, inevitably and rightly so, have a duty of care towards patients. But to suggest that the way to protect the protected is to get the unprotected to take a protection for those who've taken this protection is complete and utter nonsense. It's absurd.